Number 7 is Metroid, and, you know, I played Metroid a little bit. I have Metroid. I still have my original Nintendo system. Metroid is, again, one of those games that really shaped the gaming business. It shaped video games as we knew them. A lot of things, particularly the later Castlevanias, you know, really kind of took the model of Metroid, with its world system, you know, with the exploration, the things like that. I've always kind of been iffy on Metroid. Not that it's a fun game. It's a great game. It's just never been my game, you know. But that being said, you know, I got to give this game a fair shake, and, you know, really amongst, you know, maybe Super Metroid to replace this one, maybe, but, you know, good call. You know, I can't really argue with Metroid being on this list. Number 6 is the original Doom, which is another old classic. Some of my earliest memories, in fact, have been of Doom, and more particularly Doom 2, and I can guarantee that many of your original memories, passing through a PC, going to a friend's house, you've probably seen Doom, you've probably played Doom, you know. Such a great game with such great memories for a shooter. It's one of those games where the system is, you know, while the system is by and large obsolete, it's still a game that, you know, you might be able to pick up and play today. I think if anything, though, with the advancements in Doom 2, I would have switched the games. Put Doom 2, you know, here at number 6, Doom 1 back in the other position, because you have to understand as well, Doom 2, there are multiplayer ports and things like that that are still played today of Doom 2, and if that doesn't illustrate its staying power and its ability to survive the test of time, you know, I don't know what does. So I think maybe I would have switched the two, but Doom, you know, I definitely agree with it being on this list, and so high up, in fact, at least in the top, you know, 50. Half-Life 5 is number 5. I'm sorry, Half-Life 2 is number 5. And this is another game that I'm absolutely in love with. I've played all of the Half-Life games. I've played all of the Half-Life expansions, the originals. You know, I've played all the Half-Life episodes. And Half-Life 2 leaves you with such a rewarding experience. It's just such a fun story to go through. You know, very different feel from Half-Life 1, and I almost don't know which of the two I prefer storyline-wise, because it is very apples and oranges, and they both give you a very, you know, different sort of, you know, they both have their different appeals in the enigmatic nature of the storyline, you know, the events that unfold. So I don't really know which of the two I prefer, but, you know, you gotta give it up to Half-Life 2. You know, a world where aliens have taken over, and, you know, Dr. Freeman reappears. But, you know, more to the point, it left a lot of, you know, Half-Life 1 left a lot of questions about the storyline. You know, great, thoughtful questions that make a great storyline. You know, sort of mysteries on the level that, like, Metal Gear Solid left. And, you know, in this game has introduced a lot of the old characters, and it pulls you into such an intriguing world, such a world of intrigue and mystery. You don't know, you know, you have Dr. Breen. I believe that was Dr. Breen. It's been a while since I played the game. You know, you have Dr. Breen who, I just want to double check on myself. I think my memory is still correct. I think it was Dr. Breen who was the villain, who was the human, you know, the human overseer of, or the overseer of planet Earth. Now that the Combine, the alien, I forget what the actual name of them, the Universal Union, I believe it was, something like that. Combine was supposed to be a derogatory term, but, you know, Dr. Breen being the overseer of Earth after the Combine conquest, and you don't really know, if he's really an ally or not. You don't, you get the idea that he was a villain, but later on, you can begin to question, what was, maybe was he trying to protect Earthlings? And was he trying to protect humans with, with his methods and things? You never really know. And also, why did the G-Man bring you back? If you played the first Half-Life, he basically banked you. You accepted his services to, essentially work for the highest bidder for whoever needed his services, and you were kind of his pawn. So it also really left that question of, what was your purpose? What were you doing? Mechanic-wise, you used the Havoc engine, which up until Euphoria came out, Source, not Havoc. It used the Source engine for gravity and physics and things like that. And really up until the Euphoria engine with, the Euphoria's AI, the Euphoria's physics, things like that, up until Euphoria, Source was the groundbreaking engine to use. And, it gave such new dynamics to gravity. You now had gravity-based puzzles, physics-based puzzles, obviously the gravity gun, which is a lot of fun. So everything about Half-Life 2, just a great stay. Definitely, I like it at number 5. All things considered, I really like it at number 5. Grand Theft Auto 4 is number 4. Grand Theft Auto 3 is number 4. And I gotta be honest, I had fun with Grand Theft Auto 3 back in its day. It was a good game, great open world, but this is another example of one of those games that has become outdated. I found the storyline for Grand Theft Auto 4 more compelling. I feel that it's more compelling. And even if you don't agree on that point, the truth of the matter is, once you inserted the Euphoria engine into Grand Theft Auto, you change the game forever. I can't go back and play Grand Theft Auto 3. I can't go back and play Vice City. I can't go back and play San Andreas. I can't even watch the games anymore. I was watching my little cousin play them some time ago after having played 4, and I I wanted to laugh at her. In fact, I think I chuckled and I said something like, until you've played when you play Grand Theft Auto 4, this is going to look like a joke. A lot of people have complained about the driving aspects and things like that in 4, but that's because these cars drive a lot more realistically now. You cannot stop a car. If you're doing 50, 60 an hour or more, you can't just stop a car on a dime. You can't just turn a car smoothly. You're gonna wobble. You're gonna do things like that. The engine that Euphoria brought was so realistic, and I respect the hell out of it. That's something that you really have to understand if you have played Grand Theft Auto 4 and you haven't been a fan of it. It's because now the game is, the driving capacity is realistic. It's so much more realistic. Registering damage is more realistic. I love the AI. I was floored the first time I pulled a gun at a guy sitting in a car. And in the previous games, he just stood there and stared at you while you pulled a gun at him, pointed a gun at his face. I loved how in Grand Theft Auto 4, the Euphoria engine, the AI in the Euphoria engine is built solely not to beat the player so much as, it's almost like they're really thinking the goal of Euphoria AI is self-preservation. So I was floored when, in Grand Theft Auto 4, you pull the gun, you point at someone in the car, and their first reaction is they duck down, they try to get behind the wheel as much as possible, and at the same time they start pulling away to drive. Not just a matter of they start pulling away to get away from you, but their first reaction is to bob their head away, like, get down, get to cover. Groundbreaking. All that being said, I can see Grand Theft Auto 3 being on the top 200 list, but not at number 4. It's been outdated. Sorry to say.